Scientists think the virus probably originated in bats and was passed to pangolins before infecting humans. The SARS outbreak nearly 20 years ago also originated in wildlife. That time, the source was civet cats. The latest outbreak has been traced to a seafood market in Wuhan, which was closed at the end of December. And now China's lawmakers are strengthening regulations that ban the hunting, selling, and buying of protected animals. For more on that, I talked to Teresa Telecky, the Vice President of Wildlife for Humane Society International.
Well, you know, it takes a crisis like this, I think, to bring people's attention on something like the wildlife trade. And of course, SARS, almost 20 years ago now, SARS caused around 800 deaths around the world, but yet that wasn't enough to stop people from eating wildlife, unfortunately. We're hoping that this time around people will learn the lesson. Governments will shut these markets down, wildlife markets down, permanently and not allow them to reopen.
Well, we've seen that China did institute a temporary wildlife ban, which they've done in the past, and there's been recent enforcement. Some say, as you do, that it's not enough, but it is a good first step. What more can be done in addition to that?
Well, people need to take actions, you know, in and of themselves. People need to stop buying wildlife and stop going to wildlife markets. Of course, these markets exist not only in China, but all over the world. So we need people to just stop going there, stop buying wildlife, stop consuming wildlife. And of course, in terms of stopping the spread of the virus, this is just common sense things like washing your hands and not touching your mouth, eyes, and nose.
The wildlife trade also happens online. How much has that increased this issue?
Well, wildlife trade is blooming all over, not just online, but also in terms of the number of markets that exist and the number of animals that are sold in markets. And the problem is also that, you know, humans, as they're destroying more and more of the forests and natural areas of the world, they are coming into contact with wild animals like never before. And so we're starting to see these zoonoses just spread like the coronavirus.
As you mentioned, this is something that happens around the world. What do you think are the biggest challenges that remain globally?
Well, I mean, you know, obviously it goes back to people having enough food to eat, but also cultural traditions, you know, and insofar as we can change those through public education and government action, that is what's needed right now.
And we are talking about changing thousands of years of culture and tradition. So it's not just a mindset, it's history when it comes to eating wildlife.
Yes, absolutely, and we recognize that that's a very big problem. But the thing is, we all have to be singing from the same sheet of music, right? We all need to be saying we've got to stop eating wildlife, we've got to stop trading wildlife, and governments need to do their part in terms of educating the public and also implementing and enforcing bans.